Chris Hoke came hopping into the studio, filled with energy.
With his boundless energy.
He's brought to you by Greater Pittsburgh Plumbing, and he's sitting right next to us. How are you, Hokie?
I'm doing great. I'm pretty impressed here with these tags that you have on the microphone arms here and getting some fan
Station pride. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
It's very exciting all around the building. Well, let's get right to it, shall we? The pleasantries are finished, are they?
Oh,
Everything
it's
well?
over. Everything's
Yeah.
well. Everything's well. Let's get right to it.
Yes, everything's good. That was pretty ugly. Although the Steelers won the game, it was in the fourth quarter again. What's happened to the defense at home late in games?
Yeah, you know what? Listen, good defenses make plays when they need to in late in games, and they're not making those plays. And right now, you've got some guys that are playing lights out football. And Cam Hayward and T.J. Watt. I mean, 3 sacks again, 3 tackles for a loss. Hayward's all over the place. What an interception!
It was amazing.
Hand-eye coordination.
We were talking about that.
It
was amazing.
Unbelievable. But it's as a unit, they aren't playing well enough. When you're up by 14 points, starting the fourth quarter, and then all of a sudden the Bears take the lead, and they're able to throw the ball downfield. When they moved the ball, they were throwing the ball downfield. And the Steelers were getting beat. Some great throws by Justin Fields. That's concerning, and you've got to find a way to figure it out because if the Justin Fields and that Bears team is doing that too in the fourth quarter, you have some cause for concern when you start playing some good teams in the last part of the season.
It's a trend, Hokie. It happened against Seattle. It happened against Denver.
Yeah.
And I know Ray McLeod's fumble was a special teams play that cost them a touchdown.
Yeah.
That's what really turned it around. But, you know, when Chicago got the ball back late, I'm thinking they're going to score. This defense isn't going to be able to stop them. And, you know, Millette got beat on a couple plays. I thought his coverage was pretty good on the touchdown, but he gave up the 39-yarder. The guy was basically wide open.
He was wide open. He just ran down the field, and Millette was behind him from the start, from the go. Man-to-man coverage in that one. That was a 39-yard pass.
Yeah.
And then you
the
had
next play was the touchdown.
The next play was the touchdown.
But I thought his coverage was pretty good. And the throw was perfect.
The throw was perfect. Right. Justin Fields eluded the rush, got out of the pocket, and he threw the ball rolling to his left.
You don't
and
see
was able
that
to square up and throw the ball on a dime. Great throw and catch to Mooney to put them up. And listen, as well as the Bears defense played well against the Steelers offense, and for Ben to be able to move the ball down the field. And again, I think this is the second week in a row where the quick slant to Deontay Johnson moved the ball down the field in a very critical moment in the fourth quarter. Teams at least got to catch on to that too. That's concerning for other teams that they don't know that's where Ben wants to go late in games when he needs a big play.
I know I ask you about this every week, but it became evident again in that game. The first time the announcers mentioned Devin Bush's name, and they even said it, was at the beginning of the fourth quarter. Yeah. I think Steve Levy said, we haven't mentioned Devin Bush's name all night. He did make a couple plays late, but, man, he's just invisible at times.
Yeah.
What's happening with him?
Well, I just don't think that he's still – I don't think he's attacking. He does from time to time. He'll play down the line. I remember last week I was in here, and I was singing his praises on a few plays he had the week before. Now here against the Browns, he didn't feel like he had the week before. There was one time when Fields got out of the pocket and just looked like Devin didn't have the juice to run with them, and that was one of his things. Was even though he was 5'11" or however and a little undersized, he had the speed. And so when I mentioned it last week, I thought that maybe Devin Bush would shadow Justin Fields. I mean, Justin Fields made Devin Bush like he was standing still, and so I don't think he's right, but still. You've got to be able to play downhill, especially when you're not blocked. There was one particular play that I saw, somewhere in the third quarter, and they ran the ball, and he right there in the B gap, but he waited for him to get 3 yards down the line, on the other side of the line of scrimmage before he made the tackle. He's got to fill and play a little more physical, and I don't think he's gotten to that point yet where it's comfortable being comfortable with his knee or what. But he is not playing nasty like they need their inside linebackers to play.
We were talking about Highsmith the last hour.
Yeah.
We thought he was coming on a little bit. He had a couple decent games, and boy, the other night I don't think he was very good. And then I hear him in his interview yesterday saying I wasn't very good.
Well, it's disappointing, right? I mean, he this season, you look at Alex Highsmith's stats, not very good for a guy that they have high hopes for. He has 1.5 sacks, and that came in one game against the Seahawks. And you were hoping that he would have maybe throughout the season 7 or 8 sacks. We'll see if he gets there, but right now he's on track. Only 4 tackles for a loss, and I've always sung his praises in terms of his run-stopping ability, playing at the point. T.J. Watt last week had 3 tackles for a loss, just in the one game alone, and so Highsmith only has 4. So we need more production out of Alex Highsmith. Is he a liability? Absolutely not. I don't think he's getting thrown around. I don't think he's getting beat up or he's hurting this defense. He's just not making the plays that you need to make. As an outside linebacker. Let's be honest, guys. This defense is built around their outside linebackers and inside linebackers. It's a linebacker.
Always has been,
defense.
right? Even back in your days.
When I was here, man, this is the secret that's not really a secret. We were just there to set up the outside linebackers and the inside linebackers. Take on blockers, let the inside linebackers roam, and then in the pass rush, the 2 or 3 guys in the middle, we were just making sure the quarterback didn't spill out, so that James Harrison and Joey Porter and Clark Hagans and Lamar Woodley can get to the quarterback. And it's always been the focal point of this defense. And so Highsmith's got to produce, and he's not producing right now.
It seemed there was a change in that philosophy when Hayward and Tuitt came along. How much of that is true that okay, now we want our defensive linemen to make more plays? It used to be with the Steelers that what you just described.
Yeah.
Did it in fact change?
Well, listen, they're asking them to get up field a little more, right? They're not. We were a true 2-gap off defense back when I played, and so we were just playing down the line. We would try to get penetration, but it was more about just taking up blockers and allowing the linebackers to roam free. Now they're asking Cam to get upfield a little more. They're asking Tuitt to get upfield a little more. But there still is that focus. I mean, look at your linebacker. I mean, you got Alex Highsmith, you got T.J. Watt, and that's the focus is on pass rush for those guys come off the edge, and you not let the quarterback spill out. That's still kind of a focus there. So Highsmith's got to get to the quarterback. What I saw a couple times in this game, he had one-on-one with the tackle, and he tried to bull rush him. You're not going to overpower Jason Peters. You're not going to overpower a 330-pound left tackle in the NFL. You've got to come up with some moves and a counter move. You're not always going to win on your first move, right? And so you've got to be able to counter off your first move. And he has a motor. He's got to be able to put it all together, and he's still working through all of that, is what I see.
You mentioned Cam. Is he playing his best football?
Man.
I mean, he's all-pro, first team, 2 of the last 3 years, and we talked about the interception, just spectacular. Is he just playing his best football overall without Alu next to him and without Tuitt next to him?
Yeah, and he's a focal point of every offense. They want to know every single play where Cam Hayward's at, and they still can't block him. I mean, honestly, I say this every week. His technique's impeccable. I mean, just the way he plays with leverage, he plays with long arms, and he's strong and physical. And if you saw, where was that point in the game? If I can go back in my notes, there was a where the Steelers held the Bears to a field goal. Give me a second here.
Your notes look like Starkey's.
Yeah, you know what? Here's what happened. Here's what happened. It was in the third quarter. It was 14-3, right? And it's when the Goodwin caught a 50-yard catch. Then the Bears threw a 1-yard TD pass that was nullified for that block, right on T.J. Watt.
The phantom block.
The phantom block, right? And then they get moved back. You remember Justin Fields throws that screen to Montgomery, and it looks like he's going to get in.
Down.
Cam ran him down like 13 yards and got him at the 2 or 3 yard line. If Cam didn't turn and run to the ball, that's a touchdown.
I saw the highlight of that. It was unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Joe.
Yeah.
He literally just chased him down.
He's unbelievable. And it gave him angles.
His effort.
Yeah, and I in my mind, I can hear Coach Mitch saying, because I played a year or two with Cam, he does it in the game because he does it in practice. And he does do it in practice.
That's how Cam plays.
If you watch him in practice, Cam turns and runs to the ball. Cam, what he does in games is what he does in practice. And that's how the D linemen have always been taught here with Pittsburgh, is that you don't take one play off in practice. Because if you go hard in practice, it'll translate to success on the field. And every little thing you do will show up on
doesn't follow the Allen Iverson practice routine.
No, but Cam's a tireless worker. I mean, he really is, and you'll see him. You go watch practice. He turns and runs to the ball. He was working on his technique. It's all-out effort. I could tell you stories about when Cam was a rookie and and we were running some of these things together. Man, the guy's just relentless in his pursuit.
It's funny you mentioned those days because I remember writing the story. I remember talking to Kiesel. Cam didn't start until his 3rd year.
Yeah, he had Ziggy Hood here.
And there was some talk he's a bust, a first-round bust. And I mentioned it to Kiesel. He says, you out of your mind? He said, this guy's going to be a star.
Yeah.
He did. He
Yeah.
said, we see it in practice every day. But it took him 3 years to get into the lineup.
Yeah, I think, the thing was, Cam was a first-round draft pick, so was Ziggy. And so it's hard to remove a first-round draft pick with, from anybody, even another first-round draft pick. But Cam, listen, you hear discussions. Can Cam go down as one of the top, 3 or 4 D linemen of Steeler history? I mean, that's a discussion. He could be in the top 3. I think the guy is unbelievable. And what I hear yesterday, I heard that was it Labriola? I was listening to him, that he was talking about how there's only been one other D lineman in Steeler history to have multiple All-Pro seasons in their career, and that was Joe Green.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, we've talked about the possibility of him as a Hall of Famer, and I think there were times. Well, he didn't play a lot early in his career, but then when he started to play, and maybe that caused this. When he started to play, he was underrated.
Yeah,
like I thought he should have been second team All-Pro a couple years. Should have been in the Pro Bowl. Yep. It took people a while to notice him.
It takes a while. A lot of times these All-Pros you're getting that All-Pro from what you did last
reputation
season. And reputation. So it takes a couple years to get into that circle. But once you're in that circle and you have that reputation, you do a few things. You make a big plays on Monday Night Football or prime time. That's when you boost yourself into that spot.
Shot at the Hall of Fame?
Listen, I think he has as good a shot as anybody.
You got to do it more, though. Got to do it for a few more years, right?
Yeah, but still, I mean, you think about it right now. I mean, besides Aaron Donald, who's another better D lineman in the NFL?
Good point. I always thought Aaron Smith was the best 3-4 defensive end I've ever seen in Pittsburgh. Cam's right there.
Cam's great.
Cam is right there with him. Aaron was great too.
To Starkey's point, a little different ask from the coaches. Aaron Smith wasn't asked to get in a 3-point and penetrate and get upfield. And Cam Hayward's able to do that. And again, in the pass rush, they're asking Cam to get on the edge and get upfield. We weren't asked to do that in pass. We were asked to just keep the quarterback in the pocket. So a little different focus for those positions. Aaron Smith, listen, let me tell you right now, I don't know. Very few games can I remember where the very first play of the game, Aaron Smith didn't break the double team, get in the backfield, make a tackle for a loss. We needed a play in the run game, and Aaron Smith. I never saw a double team that Aaron Smith got moved on. He just knocked guys back and made plays. He was unbelievable.
Chris Hoke, brought to you by Greater Pittsburgh Plumbing. Coming up next, let's move to the other side of the ball. Seemed like the offensive line took a step back. You